Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. And listen, every day on the John Campea Show, that's our main movie news show in the morning, we take a little bit of time to take some live questions, but here on Open Mic in the afternoon, that's all it is, just all open discussion mode. Whatever it is you want guys to talk about, mostly we focus here on movies and movie news, some television, a few other things here and there. So, without any further ado, I'm going to let you guys know I'm going to keep today's show a little bit short because I'm leaving for Comic-Con tomorrow, so I still have a whole bunch of things I need to do to get ready to go, and I'm really excited about it. What I'm really excited about is that Comic-Con being here means that when Comic-Con's over, my oral surgeon is back in town, and I can go get my broken tooth taken back. Because you see, my tooth is still there. It's just broken. I just got to get the crown put back on it. For those of you who don't know, I've told this story before, and this will be the last time I have to tell it. But I actually had this tooth got broken years ago in a class of mine. And I had a crown put on it, no big deal, but then the crown fell out a couple of weeks ago. Unfortunately, you know, my oral surgeon is only in their office 2 days a month. So I had to wait until after Comic-Con to go get it put back on. So there we go. That's when I'm going to get all fixed, and Comic-Con's finally here. And hey guys, speaking of Comic-Con, let me just kind of plug this one last time. Of course, my annual panel, the Masters of the Web panel, is happening at Comic-Con this year. Starting and growing your own YouTube channel to contribute to online fandom. So start your own YouTube channel about movies or TV or about anything you're a fan of. I got some great panelists. I cannot wait to have this thing. And by the way, I also announced on my social media that the one and the only Robert Meyer Burnett is a buddy of mine, is going to come and introduce the panel, and also he's going to moderate the Q&A with the audience afterwards. So that's going to be a lot of fun to have Robert Meyer Burnett there as well. So I hope that I get to see a bunch of you guys there. That'll be awesome. Okay, with all that out of the way, let's get into the live questions today. And we're going to start things off with Manuel Fernandez, who writes, with the new one coming out, what are your thoughts on Mamma Mia? It's my sister's all-time favorite movie. It's surprisingly good. Like, I remember I was a little bit late to the Mamma Mia party. I didn't rush out and see it right away or anything. And I remember when I finally sat down and watched it, I was like, damn, this is pretty good. And it is. It's fun. The music in it's great. It's charming. It's really quite good. And it'll surprise you. And I know there's probably a bunch of you guys that have not seen Mamma Mia, and you look at it like I did and say, well, that's clearly not a movie for me. And that's exactly what I said. And then I watched it, and I think a lot of you guys, if you give that first Mamma Mia a chance, you're going to watch it and go, that's not bad. I think a lot of you will probably have that attitude if you give it a chance. So I encourage you, give it a shot, and I am going to rush out and see Mamma Mia. Two, I should say. Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again, just because I did like that first one so much. It's got a great cast, up and down. Obviously, the music's going to be great, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, next one comes to us from Luna Comics, who writes, oh my God, the new Aquaman poster looks epic. The trench looks scary. Oceans look straight out of the comics, and Manta looks bad as hype. Manta? Wait a second, let me just double check. I don't remember seeing Manta in, hold on a second, Aquaman poster. I don't remember seeing Manta in the poster. I'm just looking closely here. No, man, I don't see Manta in the poster. So I'm not sure. I don't know if you're talking about the poster specifically or if you're talking about the toy rendition. Like, the poster looks great, and you also saw the I'm seeing, so I don't know what it is we're talking about there, unless you're just talking about Manta separately. Yeah, the Aquaman poster does look good. It does look a lot like that Finding Nemo poster. We talked about that on the John Campea Show this morning. But I think the poster looks solid. I'm very excited for the trailer. Cannot wait for the trailer. That's going to be coming up in the next couple of days. ZOMG Ruler writes, don't think Avengers 4 will hit $2 billion. Kong vs. Godzilla? Oh, Kong vs. Godzilla is not going to come. No, I don't think Kong vs. Godzilla isn't going to join the $1 billion club. It's going to make $700-800 million, but I don't think Kong vs. Godzilla is going to even join the $1 billion club, let alone the $2 billion club. You know what? I don't think Avengers 4 is going to hit, is going to join the $2 billion club either. I think it's going to make a dump truck full of money. Make no mistake, Avengers 4 is going to make a dump truck full of money. but I don't quite think it's going to make the same amount of money that Avengers Infinity War did. Huge amount of money. I don't think it's going to make as much as Infinity War. You never know, though. I mean, who knows? We haven't even seen it. Maybe once I see the first trailer, totally change my mind. But for right now, making a guess, and I'm not going to hold to, is I would probably also guess it's not going to join the $2 billion club. Probably 1.7, 1.8 billion. Like I said, it's going to make a ridiculous, ludicrous amount of money. I just don't know if it's going to join the $2 billion club. Let's see here. Next one comes to us from Adam Douglas. And Adam Douglas writes, thoughts on a mini marathon where all Super Chat proceeds go to Schnepp's GoFundMe. You did an amazing job for the Philippines. It can make an impact once again. I don't think it's necessary. I thought about it. I don't know that it's necessary because here's the thing. With the GoFundMe for Schnepp right now, everybody's aware of it. It's there. It's established. Everybody can go there and just click and donate. I've donated. A lot of you guys have donated. And that's awesome, but it's the super easiest thing to do. So it's probably more effective for me to just, on my social media, which I have been doing, is constantly pointing everybody back to the GoFundMe page. That's probably more effective than me doing a super chat thing, because why send me a super chat? And by the way, here's what makes it difficult. Forgive me as I get into business talk for a second, okay? I don't get the money that goes that I get from YouTube or for anything regarding doing my shows. None of that goes to my bank account. There's a separate bank account set up for the business, right? And the name of my business is Carson Drive Media. That's the name of my business. Anyway, all funds that this show generates on YouTube through views, through ads, or through super chats doesn't go to me, actually goes into the business's bank account. Everything that goes into the business's bank account has to be accounted for, and it gets taxed. So if you were to send me on, like, let's say we were to do a mini marathon on my channel, and you sent me a $20 super chat, intending that to be money that goes towards Schnepp, right? Well, what's going to happen is that really only about $14 of that super chat is going to go to Schnepp, because $6 of that dollars is going to get taxed before I even touch it. So what's more effective is if you just send $20 to the GoFundMe page, and I will continue to supply the link to the GoFundMe page. Just follow me on social media. I've got it on my Facebook, got it on my Twitter. It's all over the place. It's just much more effective and direct for you to go to the GoFundMe page anytime and just send money there. And you know what? We've raised over, let me just double check here, just so I make sure I'm getting it right. I believe we've raised like almost $60,000 or more on the, we've raised over $64,000 on the GoFundMe page, which is great, because the hospital bills for this are probably going to come in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is crazy. It's going to be the kind of money that can cripple John's family for life because of all this. So yeah, it just made much more sense. Instead of me doing one little marathon thing that you can only donate to while I'm doing it, and a bunch of it's going to get taxed and all that kind of stuff, it just made more sense for me to try to get you guys to go to the GoFundMe page and just donate directly. So that's why I'm doing it that way, just to make sure we get as much of that money, every dollar that gets contributed goes directly to helping the medical situation there with Schnepp. So that's why I don't do that. And it's because believe me, if I thought it would be better, I would do a 48-hour marathon. If I thought that was the better way and that was the more effective way, I would do a 48-hour marathon nonstop till I dropped. But I know that's not the most effective way to do it, so I just encourage you guys to go to the GoFundMe page and do that there. But thank you for the suggestion, Adam. I really appreciate that you're even at least thinking about it. Let's see here. Next up, SSJR Goku Black writes, thoughts on the announcement of the new Batwoman TV series coming in 2019. Well, just to be clear, they did not announce one. They announced that they're developing it and they may pick it up. They announced they're developing and it may be picked up. So At least that's what I saw. Let me just double check what I'm looking at here. Just to make 100% for certain. But yeah, in Variety, what Variety reports is Variety has learned that this is coming from Variety magazine. Variety has learned that the CW is developing a series about the DC superhero, Batwoman, that would debut in 2019 should it get picked up. So let's be very, very clear about that right now. The Batwoman show is not, there's some people running around, the Batwoman show, it's coming, it's been, no. CW's ordered one developed, and then they're going to see if they're going to pick it up. Now, they already announced a while ago that Batwoman was going to appear in the big CW crossover coming up this new season. And they're saying that this Batwoman would be about Kate Kane, and she's going to be, I guess, it's going to be the first CW character where she's the title character of the show and she's openly lesbian. Because obviously in Legends of Tomorrow, Sarah Lance is a bisexual character, but the name is not called Sarah Lance. The name of the show is Legends of Tomorrow. This is going to be the first time that they have their title character is an openly gay character. So that's interesting. And that stays consistent with the comic story. So they're going to have her appear in CW. I think they're going to see her appear in the crossover, see how the audience responds, and then probably make a decision, is what I'm guessing. And if they do, great. Look, I have liked, to some degree or another, almost everything CW has done. I do not like Supergirl. Legends of Tomorrow, I'm on the fence about at this point. They've had good moments and bad moments. Green Arrow, sometimes I've loved it, sometimes I've hated it. It's on a bit of an upswing right now. For the most part, Flash has been really good. I'm loving Black Lightning. So if CW thinks something's good enough, I'll give it a shot, for sure. I'll definitely give it a shot, and I'll be interested to see what they're doing with that. Let's see, Ben Rayner writes, over or under 2%, that's pretty low. Emily Blunt says, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, in Returns, and would it be funny or bad? Oh, it would be horrible. It would be horrible. Because look, let's remember, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was not a $2 billion film. A lot of people saw it, but not everybody saw it. So, and it would be completely out of place with the movie, and it would leave half the audience going, what was that? Why did out of nowhere Mary Poppins in this type of a movie suddenly say, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all? Why? It would make no sense. So I'm going to take the extreme under. I'll go negative. I'll go negative 1%. That Emily Blunt says, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, in Mary Poppins. 3 or 4 people in the movie theater would chuckle. I'd be one of them. But most of the theater would have no idea what she's talking about, and it would be completely out of place and would make no sense. So, no, I'll take the under, Ben. I'll take the under on that happening. Let's see here. Zombitron 5678 writes, should it be the movie's job to fit into a rating, PG, R, etc., or should it be the parents' responsibility to let their kids see or not see the movie? Those, I don't think you understand how the rating system works, Zombitron. Look, the rating system are a guide. It's not a rule. It's a guide. The MPAA gives these guidelines, and it's simply a parental guide. It's always up to the parent if they want to let their child see a movie or not. It's always up to the parent, except for when a kid's sneaking away. And what you don't want to have happen is have some parent come storming to your, let's say you're a movie theater manager. You don't want a parent coming storming with a baseball bat to your movie theater saying, why did you let my 9-year-old son into some dirty R-rated film? Why are you letting my child in there with the parents not there? That's what you do not want, okay? Why did you let my 11-year-old child in to see that movie? That's what you don't want. Look, it's always up to the parent. Like, even if a movie's rated R, in the United States of America, you can still bring your kid to an R-rated movie if you choose. The movie theater just said, well, look, we got to be very careful here because there's some very strong content in here. So, yeah, they let kids in, but, for an R-rated movie, you got to at least be accompanied by an adult. And so it's up to you, the parent. If you want to let your kid go see a G-rated film, you can. If you want to let your kid go see a PG film, you can. If you want to let your kid go see a PG-13 film, you can. If you want to take your kid to see an R-rated film, you can. It is up to you. The MPA ratings are a guide. So it is completely up to you. Now, movies will then try to fit into certain categories because they want the parents to let the kids come to see their movies, for sure. But it is up to the parents. It's always up to the parents. The only thing is with an R-rated film, it's like, okay, if you want your kid to see that movie, that's fine, but you got to come with them. And that's the only thing. That's just them protecting themselves. That's common sense. That's common sense. Look, I don't have any kids, but I know this. If I had a 12, 13-year-old kid who I did not feel was ready yet to watch, you know, super hardcore, hardest core R-rated film that's out there, and I found out that some business let my child in to go see something like that, I'm taking a baseball bat and I'm going to have some words with the person that let my kid in to see that. I'm not a dad, but I'm telling you right now, I'm taking a baseball bat to there. You know, that's what I'm doing. And look, but at the same time, if I, as the parent, feel like, yeah, I think my 13-year-old can go see that, so I'm going to take my 13-year-old to see that, then I can do that. So it is up to the parents. Let's see. Luna Comics writes, fun fact about me. My first movie I saw in the Chinese theater was Transformers 4. I didn't hate on it, but I didn't hate it, but my mind did feel like it was on drugs. Yeah, I hated Transformers 4, but I would go. Here's the funny thing. I would go see Transformers 4 again in the Chinese theater. It's just... Look, and this is one of the things I encourage everybody who goes to LA, who's taking a trip to LA, go once to see a movie at the Chinese theater. It's now called the TCL Chinese Theater or something like that. Anyway, you got to go. Now, it's been completely renovated, but they really maintained the ambiance of the place. Like, you walk in there, it's a modern theater, but it feels old Hollywood, like all at the same time. It's really a great experience. And I'm going to tell you this right now. One of my all-time favorite movie-going experiences ever was going to the premiere of Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and being in the Chinese theater, the same place where they premiered the original Star Wars film in 1977, being in that same place and sitting there. And I remember in the minutes leading up to when the movie was going to start, just sitting there and just feeling the history of the place. It was really something special. That moment was really something special. And it's always kind of special. Whenever I've only, like, the Chinese theaters in Hollywood, I've got a lot of other closer movie theaters, so I don't get down there that often. But on the 7, 8, 9, 10 times I've gone to a movie at the Chinese theater, every time I'm just taken with the history of the place. I'm in there and just kind of looking around and just kind of realizing how much of Hollywood history has happened in this theater. It's really pretty cool, and it's really something special. So follow Luna's lead. If you ever visit Los Angeles, take time to visit the Chinese theater. And I think you're going to really be glad that you did. All right, next up comes us from Zombitron5678, who writes, hey man, I know life's hard right now, but thanks for all the good work and joy you do bring to all of us. Also, how you were yesterday listing off your problems reminds me of Thor in Infinity War. Well, it's not my problems. It's just, it's just a number of circumstances that have happened. I was mentioning yesterday, we always talk about it on here. It's like, hey man, all film's subjective. And one of the fun things about movies, we can have differences of opinions about movies and argue and debate as long as it's done in really good nature, and never take it to a place where it's like you start name calling people because you're mad. Because first world problems, dude, we're talking about movies, for heaven's sake. It's movies. It's movies, right? And I was talking on yesterday's show about how I've become particularly aware of that in recent days, just because, my mom's in the hospital. I had a good conversation with my mom today. She's doing much better. Still in hospital. She's going to be in the hospital for a few more weeks, but she's doing much, much better and going to be going home in a few weeks, which is great. And she wanted to extend a thank you to all of you guys who constantly ask about my mom. So thank you for that. But, Ann and I had a friend of ours, Alfred, die earlier this week. And Ann and I were friends with him and his wife, Karen, and he just suddenly died out of nowhere like that. And then everything going on with Schnepp and blah, blah. And, one of the things, And we just passed last month the 1-year anniversary of the death of my best friend. And it's just really put me in this place of being really aware that, you know what, guys, in the grand scheme of things, let's remember we're talking about movies. They're great and they're meant to bring us joy. So even if you hate a movie, have some fun talking about it and talking debate with people who like them. And that's great. It's supposed to be fun. They're movies, for heaven's sakes. You should never get to the place where you start calling people names. You start attacking each other over what we think about movies. Really? We got friends, not just me. You know people that like are dying. You know, you have family or loved ones that are in the hospital and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to argue about movies? I mean, arguing about movies is fun as long as it's done in fun. But yeah, it was a really kind of just a moment for me that I realized, it's kind of nuts. It's kind of nuts. Darth Impact writes, where'd Darth Impact goes? Where'd Darth Impact go? That was a bigger jump than I thought. Okay, here we go. Darth Impact writes, I watched Big Trouble in Little China today. Great movie, man. I watched Big Trouble in Little China today. Great movie. Forgot it was directed by John Carpenter. Wasn't there talks of a reboot a while ago? Yes, there were. There were actually, speaking of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, there were talks a couple years ago, some heavy talks, that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was going to star in a Big Trouble in Little China reboot. And I think he just picked up 19 other movies. And ultimately, that just kind of fell by the wayside. Now, you know what? Just for shits and giggles here. Hold a second. Dwayne Johnson, IMDb. Just see if he still has it listed at all, if it ever was listed on his IMDb here. Let's see, as an actor, you know what? He still has Big Trouble in Little China listed as rumored on his IMDb. But he's got, oh my God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 films listed as upcoming. He's got, well, 10 if you include Fighting with My Family, Jungle Cruise, Hobbs and Shaw, Jumanji 2, Red Notice, Black Adam is still listed as happening, Suicide Squad 2, San Andreas 2, Doc Savage, and Big Trouble in Little China. And these are all just in his upcoming films. I mean, it's crazy. So, yep, technically he still has that listed. So it's something we'll have to keep our eye on. Let's see. KW, but once again, just because something's listed on IMDb as upcoming, anything that's listed on IMDb as past, generally 100% rock solid. Anything that's listed on IMDb as future, like what could happen, like who might be in this, it's very iffy. So never take what's on IMDb in the future as solid rock evidence as anything. It's very, very iffy. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. KW Garrett 83 writes, what precautions are you taking to avoid the infamous Comic-Con nerd flu? I remember you or colleagues always get sick right after Comic-Con. Vitamin C, dude, look, a lot of people get the con, it's called con crud. People pick up the con crud. Because here's the thing. You get crammed into this auditorium. And by the way, they need to move. I love San Diego. I love San Diego. But they need to move Comic-Con out of San Diego. San Diego cannot handle Comic-Con anymore. It's just grown beyond it. And one of the big things is that the convention center is simply not big enough. Because you try walking around on a Saturday afternoon on the convention floor of Comic-Con, you're walking like this, rubbing shoulders with 50,000 other sweaty nerds who have not showered. And the moment you brush by one of them who's got the sniffles, guess what? Now you got con crud. Now the next person rubs against you, they got con crud. And the next person there, and pretty soon, it's like one of those outbreak movies where they look on the screen of a country, there's a little red dot. Here's the outbreak right now. In 24 hours, it's going to be this. And it spreads. And that's what Comic-Con is. I'm not saying moving Comic-Con out of San Diego will fix that problem, but it's especially bad when, dude, I'm telling you what, it has been years since I have even tried to go onto the main floor of Comic-Con on a Saturday. Forget it. Forget it. Because you're just walking around like this. It's insane. Like when I hang out at Comic-Con, I usually hang out outside the convention center at Comic-Con because it's much more fun. Like, good gracious. Las Vegas, their convention center is literally twice the size of San Diego's convention center. And they have 8 times the amount of hotels. Try getting a hotel for Comic-Con, I dare you. Move to Vegas, no problem. Anyway, that's another debate for another time. The precautions I take. Number 1, make sure you're getting sleep before you go to Comic-Con. The more sleep you have, the better your immune system is. If you're lacking sleep, your immune system gets beaten down and you're just setting yourself up for trouble when you get to Comic-Con. So get plenty of sleep. Number 2, I take so many vitamins, it's just crazy. After I had my heart attacks years ago, I got like really nutty about my, like a lot more nutty about my nutrition. Like every morning I take fish oil supplements. I take men's multivitamins. I take greens supplements. I take vitamin D. I take this. I take that. Like, so yeah. And I'm taking vitamin C. I'm taking like Airborne, the immune system booster. I started that like 2 days ago. Keep that pumped up. And then just make sure you're taking care of yourself at Comic-Con. Wash your hands every couple of hours. Like, some people just wait till they go to the bathroom to wash their hands. I'm telling you, use the hand sanitizer. Wash your hands constantly. Shower every day. Damn you guys who go to Comic-Con, you know who you are, who don't shower every day. Oh my God. Shower every day. Please change clothes. There's some people go to Comic-Con, they just wear the same shirt for 3 days in a row. I'm not judging anybody who does that normally, but you can't do that at Comic-Con. So change clothes every day. Shower every day. Most importantly though, keep your hands clean. Use hand sanitizer, wash your hands. You do that, you greatly increase your chances of avoiding the con crud. Now, it doesn't guarantee you won't get con crud, but it drastically increases your chances of staying healthy all the way through Comic-Con. So yeah, make sure you do that, guys. Okay, now watch. I'm going to come back from Comic-Con and I'm still going to be sick as hell. Let's see here. Rose Ryan writes, because I like you just the way you are, no, I won't break into the song. Won't you be my neighbor? Hi to Anne. Well, thank you, Rose. Thanks for sending that in. I appreciate that. And I know Anne always gets a kick when people mention her on the show too. So thank you for that. By the way, I don't know if you guys see, let me see if I can find this just really quick here. Give me one quick second because I just think this picture's so funny that I just got to share it. If I can find it here, give me a moment. Nothing is loading on my page. Here we go. Where did it go? Where did it go? I gotta find this. I gotta find this because I gotta share it because it's just too damn funny. Unless it's gone. It might actually be gone. Oh, no, here it is. Okay, let me see if I can just capture this quick and do this. I know, guys, I'm just killing screen time here, but I just saw this and I thought it was so funny that I just had to share it. Let's see if this works. Okay, here it is. Let me bring it up on here. So somebody put this on. For those of you who don't know, my Patreon supporters, we have a Facebook group that's exclusive for our Patreon supporters. And somebody put this up, and I just about spit out my soda that I was drinking at the time. Let me see if I can get this a little bit bigger. There we go. And I just about spit out my soda. If you guys remember that scene from Age of Ultron, when everybody's trying to pick up the hammer, and then they got a picture of Mr. Rogers going, "Pardon me, young man, is this yours?" I swear to God, I was in the middle of drinking something. I was right in the middle of having some soda, and then that came across my timeline on Facebook, and I just about choked. I was laughing so hard. I got to bring it up again. I just love that. I don't know who did this, but bravo to whoever did it. "Pardon me, young man, is this yours?" And I can just picture Thor with his jaw being completely wide open. Oh, Mr. Rogers is worthy. Oh, yes. Mr. Rogers is worthy. I just love that picture when I saw it. I had to share it with you guys. But anyway, thank you for that, Rose. I appreciate that. Okay, we move on now to Nick Smith, who writes, "With the Scarlett Johansson controversy, you said you don't think it's wrong being someone you're not is part of acting. Thoughts on an actor playing a different race or gender? Wouldn't it be the same?" They have. We have. Cate Blanchett played Bob Dylan in a movie once. She did. Hey, I'm okay. The thing is, with a different race, that it becomes a problem. First of all, playing a different gender presents the same type of problem, and here's what that problem is. If you are trying to play somebody of, and it's give or take. If you're trying to play a character who's a black character and you're a white dude, that doesn't work for the character. It simply doesn't work for the character. I can clearly see you are not that character. Whether it's because of bad acting or bad physical type or bad whatever, I can clearly see that you are not. I cannot get immersed in this character seeing you like this. Like, for instance, what's a good example? Let's say John Candy, God rest his soul. Let's say John Candy was still around today. You can't cast John Candy to play Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yes, acting is pretending you're something that you're not, but that is such a physical mismatch that I, as an audience member, I will never be able to get drawn into the film with John Candy playing Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's just clearly not. It does not work for the character. I cannot buy that individual as one of the world's most celebrated all-time bodybuilders. I can't do it. You can't get me into that. On that same level, no matter how great Daniel Day-Lewis is as an actor, you will never get me into him as Martin Luther King Jr. It's so jarring. Like, I can't. That's not Martin Luther King Jr. As opposed to like a David Oyelowo who walked in, David, who's not quite as good of an actor as Daniel Day-Lewis, but yes, I can get into him as that because it's not completely jarring me out of this thing. Extreme examples like that aside, I can totally buy Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as somebody who's an amputee. You can convince me of that in a movie. You can convince me that Scarlett Johansson, because she's a good enough actress, is a person who is born a woman and then later identified as a man, like we were talking about with the rub and tug example. You can convince me of that because she's a great actress. You can convince me that a freedom-loving American dude is Adolf Hitler in a movie because he can act that way and there's nothing extreme about the physical appearance that's going to take me out of that, and it will work. But you have to become desperate to make those types of arguments because you're talking about the vast extreme example. No, Kevin Hart cannot play Jackie Chan in a Jackie Chan movie. It just doesn't work. From a performance point of view, it won't work because you're never going to get the audience into that. But when you can convince the audience of it, then I just don't see a problem. If I'm somebody who's somebody who has sight, if that actor can convince me the character is blind, then by all means do it. If an actor who has the gift of hearing can play a character who is deaf, then by all means do it. If you can find a deaf actor who can also play that role, then by all means do that. It's always frustrating to me. You know there's not a good argument to be made when people, and I'm not saying you're doing this, Nick. I know you're just asking an honest question. It's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with the question you're asking at all. But when somebody in a debate with me has to go to a far extreme example, then you know you've got them. So like, I'd say, no, it's perfectly fine for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to play an amputee because, well, would you say Bruce Lee could play Martin Luther King? When somebody shows how desperate they are that they have to go to that to try to make a point, you know you're doing pretty well. So I would say that's a radically extreme example that the reasons against that are plain and obvious. You cannot act, like, I'm sorry, Daniel Day-Lewis cannot act as Martin Luther King. You can't do that. With the audience, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. The way Daniel Day-Lewis was able to convince us he was Abraham Lincoln, he could not do that. There are just physical limitations to him being able to do that with a Martin Luther King. So I reject those ideas. I reject those arguments because the answers to those arguments are so plain and obvious that they're almost not even worth addressing. So totally fair for you to ask the question, Nick. My response would be that is such a radically different scenario that it's not even comparable to the situation. You're talking about a scenario where there are pure physical limitations that would prevent an adequate performance being given. That's not the case with a Scarlett Johansson playing a character who was born a woman and later identifies as a man. That's not the case with a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson portraying somebody who is an amputee. That's not the case. So these are completely different scenarios and situations. So I reject that argument, like kind of outright, because I think the answer to it is so plain and obvious. But that's just the way I see it, at any rate. All right. Ben Hayusa writes, how's it going, John? Pretty good, Ben. Thank you. Curious if you watched them. Nope, haven't seen them yet. Have not. Look, dude, I'm very, very, very busy right now. On top of all the hospital visits, visiting friends whose husbands have just died, going to a hospital, trying to get ready for Comic-Con, and trying to do all my shows. I have not had time to sit down and watch the YouTube videos. I just have not. But I've got them saved on my computer. I've got the email that you sent me all the links. I've got them on my computer, and I will check them out as soon as I have a chance. But right now, things are a little bit busy right now, especially with me trying to leave for Comic-Con tomorrow. So I'm sure you understand. John Demoto writes, what are you most excited about at Comic-Con? From a media point of view, easily the Aquaman trailer. The Aquaman trailer is what I am most excited about that we have coming out of Comic-Con. From an overall point of view, oh, damn, I'm just looking forward to hanging out in San Diego. I really am. I love San Diego. Ann and I, 2 or 3 times a year, will just go to San Diego for the weekend. We'll just go. We'll just book a hotel room down right around where Comic-Con usually happens, by the convention center, and we'll just go and hang out down there. I love hanging out down there. And it's really great because there's this amazing house. It's really this giant mansion with a pool and hot tub and like 8 bedrooms and this gorgeous, gorgeous property with 2 fire pits and all this kind of stuff. And I remember we booked that place a couple of years ago when I was with Lionsgate and we were doing Film HQ. And Lionsgate foot the bill for it. It was expensive, but they foot the bill for it. I was desperately trying to find a way to try to figure out how am I going to put people up, because I got to bring me, and I got to bring Ray, I got to bring fact checker Jonathan, want to bring fact checker Jonathan's wife down, blah, and hotels are impossible to get, and you're like looking at staying 5 or 6 miles away from the convention center, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I reached out to the woman who owns this massive mansion, and I got along great with her. And I said, hey, it's me. Look, I'm not with a company anymore. It's just me, because this mansion's only 2 miles from the convention center. So it's within an hour walking distance or a quick little Uber ride. But anyway, I said, it's me. I'm just curious. Is your house available, and would you consider giving me a deal? And she goes, I loved you guys. I trust you guys to be in my house. You guys can take my house for the week. And the price she gave it to me for, I'm not going to say what it was, but it was cheaper than trying to get all the hotels I was going to have to try to get. And all those hotels are going to be like twice as far away from downtown. So it was going to be like 5+ miles away, and it was going to cost more to get the hotel rooms for me and my crew. And I'm like, are you serious? And she goes, sure. I'm like, yay! So she actually saved me money. She actually saved me money, which is amazing. I love this place. I'll take pictures of it and show it to you guys when I go there. And it'll just make you mad knowing that it was cheaper for me to get that place than it was to get hotels. But I'm really, really excited just about going down to San Diego and just hanging out at this place. It's like a resort. It's like an absolute resort. I cannot wait. So I'm looking forward to doing a little relaxing, looking forward to doing my panel, looking forward to meeting some of you guys down in San Diego. Looking forward to the Aquaman trailer, looking forward to the Glass trailer, looking forward to a lot of really cool stuff. But most of all, just looking forward to hanging out in San Diego, you know? There's something about, I talk about this every year, but there is something that is good for the soul when you're at a place where there's 150,000 people all over the place. They're just crowded in the streets and everywhere. And everybody's happy. Like, seriously, it's It's an amazing experience being at Comic-Con because, and I think it's why my soul just looks forward to going to Comic-Con every year, because you're just hanging out with all these people in the streets, and everybody who's there has been looking forward to this all year. And people are dressed up, and people are high-fiving, and people are smiling. They're on their way to their favorite panel, or they're just coming out of the convention center having bought their favorite toy, or whatever. For whatever reason, everybody's just happy and having a good time. And there's something just good for the soul being packed and surrounded by that many people, all who are happy and having a good time. And it's just good for you, man. It's just good for you. And I find myself aching for Comic-Con every year just to go and be a part of that, you know? So a lot of things I'm looking forward to from a media point of view, a lot of things completely outside of the media that I'm looking forward to. And that's kind of one of them. All right. Thanks a lot for that, John. Luna Comics follows up with, funny if someone asked you at Comic-Con, what happened to your tooth? Oh, I'm not going to be surprised. Like, I will not be surprised how many people stop probably. Did something happen to your tooth? Oh, yeah, it's broke. It's still there, but it's broke. And it's funny, no matter how many times I tell the story, I still have people almost in every video I do in the shop where what happened to his tooth? And like, oh my God, do I have to explain it again? Anyway, it'll be nice. Now, they offered me like a retainer to put in a fake tooth, but it's one I'd have to take out every time I'd eat. And I'm like, so it's just for cosmetic? I'm like, I'm not vain. I don't care. I'm like, I'll go with the Canadian hockey player look for a couple of weeks. I'm not vain, so it's fine. Let's see. Joe Byram writes, over under 8% that Aquaman will move. I'm going to take the under. I'm sticking on the 5%. 5% is still my line. I've said that from the beginning. I think there's a 5% chance Aquaman moves. And I'm sticking with it. I still believe that. Some people are going, but the poster just came out and said December 21st. Of course it did. If they're going to move it, that's exactly what I would have done. If I was a Warner Brothers executive and I knew we were trying to set up this earth-shattering news at Comic-Con that, by the way, everybody, Aquaman's coming in October. Boom, internet loses mind. If I was a Warner Brothers executive and I knew that's what we were doing, putting out a poster the week before Comic-Con with the December 21st date on it is exactly what I would have done. It's exactly what I would have done. By the way, guys, I got to turn on the AC. I'm getting really warm in here. Sorry about that. So you're going to hear the AC kick on here in a second. But that's exactly what I would have done. So I don't think that Aquaman poster with the December 21st date either adds or takes away from the chances that they're going to announce that they're moving dates. Again, I think it's 95% chance that they don't. But I still think there's that tiny 5% chance they're going to do it and destroy Comic-Con. I'm telling you what, if Warner Brothers drops that bombshell, it will go down. It will become a legend at Comic-Con. Remember the year when Aquaman, boom, suddenly announced it's coming out in just 3 months, everybody. It'll be, I'll use the word, epic. It'll be epic if they did that. Okay, let's see. Andrew Lee writes, if a non-trans can't play a trans role, does that mean a trans can't play a non-trans role? You can't create a more inclusive world by excluding people. Okay, yes, I agree with you, Andrew. However, what a trans actor would probably say to you is, show me the non-trans roles that transgender actors are getting. There's not a lot. So if the issue here, like, you know me, I think an actor plays things that they are not. But what I believe a transgender actor, rightfully, would respond to your statement here would be, oh, that's interesting. Show me one role. Show me one non-transgendered role that a transgendered actor is getting. Show it to me. That's what they would say. And they would be right to say it. Because I can't think of one. Can you? Like, seriously, can you think of a transgender actor getting a role that's not a transgender role? It's not a lot. I can't think of a single one. That's why whenever I talk about this, I go, now look, I believe there are valid concerns and valid arguments here. And I believe that's one of the valid arguments. That, you know, transgendered actors don't get non-transgender roles. So like when you say, well, are you going to exclude them? Well, they practically are being excluded already. So that's whenever this topic comes up. Like, like you and I, Andrew, are kind of on the same side of it. But whenever the topic comes up, I have to put an asterisk on there and say, now, there are legit arguments and legit concerns on the other side. And that's one of them. That, you know, when you say, well, should we start excluding transgendered actors from getting non-transgendered roles? We practically are. They're not getting the roles. I would defy you to name 5 roles in the last 2 years in a popular TV show or movie that is a non-transgendered role that a transgendered actor got. I don't think you can do it. I can't do it. So they practically are being excluded anyway. So that is why, as strongly as I believe that, hey, actors play things that they are not, and I'm all for that, and I believe Dwayne Johnson should play the role he played. I do believe Scarlett Johansson should have been able to play the role in Robin Tugg. While I completely hold to that, I also acknowledge there are some very good reasons. There are some very good arguments that I think have to be given a lot of consideration and have to be given weight. Because that's a legit argument that they make. It is a legit argument, and I think we have to give it attention. And I think we have to give it, it should give us pause. And we should reflect on it. And I think that's probably one of the things they would say. So anyway, that's just kind of how I see it at this point. Boramint writes, what's your favorite Las Vegas resort or hotel to stay at? Oh, you know what? Normally it's gosh, you know what? I have been swayed to Caesar's Palace. I have been swayed to Caesar's Palace. Now, Caesar's Entertainment, which owns like 8 hotels in Las Vegas, they are always kind enough to put me up at one of the Caesar's hotels. And that includes the Rio. I love the Rio. Planet Hollywood is a Caesar's hotel. I love that. Caesar's Palace, the Flamingo. Oh, what's the one right there on the corner? Anyway, the 5, 6, 7, 8 hotels in Vegas that Caesar's Entertainment owns and operates. And I've stayed at a bunch of them. That's one of the reasons I go to Vegas so much, is because Caesar's Entertainment lets me stay there for free. It's great. But lately, they've been putting me up in Caesar's Palace. And I got to tell you, man, I'm pretty much, what have I been missing out on here? Because my favorite place to hang out is actually Planet Hollywood. I really like playing poker at Planet Hollywood. It's my favorite poker room in Vegas is Planet Hollywood. It's not the most elaborate, it's not the most beautiful, but there's something about the vibe of the poker room in Vegas that I really like, at Planet Hollywood in Las Vegas that I really like. And so there, but I gotta tell you, man, Caesar's Palace is a pretty damn sweet place to stay. So if you're gonna, your next trip to Vegas, see if you can book yourself a room at Caesar's Palace. It's a beautiful experience. It's a beautiful experience. Let's see, Manuel Fernandez writes, in regards to the Aquaman poster, Luna Comics was referring to a new Den of Geek magazine cover featuring a new look at the Aquaman characters. Oh, okay, well, see, I thought, are you talking about something else? Thank you for clarifying that, Manuel. I have not seen it, so I can't comment on it. I haven't seen it, but thank you for, I knew she must have been talking about something different. I knew that Luna must have been talking about something a little bit different, so thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate that. Let's see. Koba writes, when will the Bond 25 title be revealed? That's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, like, you guys know how I feel. The title's not important to me. Like, I get excited when they announce the title of a new Star Wars movie, but it's not like I'm, oh, when's the title of the new Star Wars? But I need to know the title. Like, I'm not like that, because a title of a movie will not make a movie any better, and it won't make it any worse. So I don't really care. But I'll be curious. But yeah, so it's interesting you bring that up, Koba. I'm not sure. Because I know they're moving pretty quick on the film. They're moving very quick on the film. So, you know what? I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if they decided to drop it during Comic-Con. I wouldn't be shocked. Maybe not. Probably not. Probably closer to Christmas we'll get a title. But, yeah, I wouldn't bet against them dropping the title during some time at Comic-Con. All right, Dirk Diggler writes, hey, John, I like much of Zack Snyder's work. Me too. But I don't get why, after it has been reported that there is no Snyder cut of Justice League, that some people keep promoting it. I wish they would let it go. I mean, look, there's never been a Snyder cut. There was clearly a rough assemble. I mean, sure there was. But it had none of the effects. And not, like, he was off that film so early. there is no Snyder cut. And I think most people understand that. Some people want to hold on to the idea that there is. Okay, fine. Warner Brothers wasn't going to spend another $10-20 million to put together a Snyder cut, put together the visual effects for it all. It wasn't going to happen. So now, I'm with you, Dirk. I'm completely. There's really no even point of us talking about it. There is no Snyder cut. Now, Snyder himself may take the movie, cut it up, and put together his own cut of the film. I mean, he could do that, but it wouldn't be like all the raw footage. So, now there's no Snyder cut, and that's fine. So I agree with you. I'm completely on board with you there. Luna Comics. Oh, oops. Wait a second. We took another jump. Here we go. Luna Comics writes exactly what Manuel just wrote. I meant the Den of Geek cover for Aquaman, and Ocean Master looks straight out of the comics. Okay, that, again, I haven't seen that yet, so I'll have to take a look at that, just like Manuel just already pointed out. Daniel Cabral just sends in a super chat. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that. Jack Spittle writes, have you seen Good Girls? Such a great show, and Christina Hendricks is such a great actress. I have not seen the show. No. I've heard good things about it. Didn't it get canceled? I could be wrong. I thought I remember hearing that it got canceled, maybe. Because my friend Ashley, I think I remember her tweeting something about, all the shows I love get canceled, and I think she was talking about that one. But maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, no, I haven't seen an episode of Good Girls. I'll have to keep my eye open for it, though. Charlie Zakari writes, thanks for the Burbank recommendation. Wife and I just signed the lease to our new place, and we'll be moving in mid-August. Tight hugs for your mom and Schnepp. Oh, thank you so much for that, Charlie. Enjoy Burbank. I got to tell you, I moved to Los Angeles, I guess 8 or 9 years ago now. Probably getting on 9 years ago, I moved to LA. And I've lived in a number of different places in and around LA. I love Burbank. Love Burbank. It's a beautiful place to live. So many great restaurants, all the entertainment in the world. Universal Studios is here. Disney's lot is here. Warner Brothers lot is here. It's just a gorgeous, you're in the San Fernando Valley. It's just a gorgeous, wonderful place to be. I will never, as long as I'm living in LA, I will never move out of Burbank. I'm telling you. I'll never move out of Burbank as long as I'm here. Let's see. Beast Gaming writes, imagine if in Avengers 4, Tony is collecting the stones and has to sacrifice Pepper to obtain the Soul Stone for the greater good. Well, I mean, I don't know how you collect the stones because Thanos has them all. So it's not like Thanos went around and hid them around the universe that they went to go find. So that would be something. That is something that he would not do. I just don't see him doing it. I don't see that. Although, if Marvel wanted to create a Sophie's Choice for one of our heroes, saying, Tony, you can undo all the damage that Thanos did, but it'll cost you sacrificing Pepper. Oh my God. That would be a moment. That would be a moment. Woo! That would be tough. It would be, I mean, I don't see them doing that at all, but oh my God, that would be a hell of a moment in the MCU if they did that. All right, Luna writes, may I recommend Batman Under the Red Hood? It was one of the best animated DC films. I've seen it. I like it very much. And actually, it was one of the better incarnations of the Joker. The Joker in Batman Under the Red Hood was one of my favorite Joker incarnations, to be honest with you. It's a really great incarnation of Joker, and it's very good. It's one of the very few animated DC or Marvel films, because generally speaking, I don't like any of Marvel or DC's animated stuff. There are some exceptions, and Under the Red Hood is one of those exceptions, so I completely agree with you. All right, Shriaz writes, 17 years from now, ding dong, at the door is a guy coming to pick up your future daughter for prom. You open it. What will be his fate? Oh my God. Oh my God. Look, you can ask my sisters. I am the worst. I have 2 little sisters. And I used to come home and, like, physically, if I came home and my sisters had guys in the house, I would physically throw them out of the house. Like, literally grab them by the scruff of the neck, throw them out of the house. I'm awful. I'm the worst. I feel so bad for any future daughter I have. First of all, I feel bad for myself, and I feel bad for my daughter. Number one, I feel bad for myself. Let me start with my daughter. I feel bad for my daughter because I am an overprotective. I'm going to be the overprotective prick dad. I mean, I already know it. I just know it. I don't want to be it, but I already know it. But the second thing is, and I don't know how this works for the first thing, I feel bad for myself, because if I have a little girl, she's going to own me. Like, I think I'm going to be like my dad. I remember when my sister had her first daughter, when my sister had my niece, it changed my dad. My dad became a different human being when my sister had her daughter. And as my niece went from being a baby to being a little girl, she owned my dad. She owned my dad. And her big word was me. That was her first word, me. Like if she saw something that you had that she wanted to eat, me. If she wanted my dad to pick her up, me. If like me, was it me. And my dad would do anything. My dad could be in the middle of saving the world. If my niece when she was at that age, went, Papa, me. That's it. My dad would let the world burn and he'd do whatever it was my niece wanted. And I know that's going to be me. She will have me completely wrapped around her finger. And the moment a boy comes anywhere near her, I'll pull out the shotgun. And so I'm going to be that weird mix of everything that's bad and wrong with fatherhood. I'm going to be the weird mix of both, where I'm going to be the overprotective prick dad, and at the same time, my daughter will have me completely wrapped around her finger, and I completely know it. It's going to be the worst. It's going to be the worst. I'm so afraid for those two things of having a daughter. Don't get me wrong. If I have a daughter, it's going to be the greatest thing in my life. It's going to be the best thing ever. But oh my God, it scares the hell out of me. It scares the hell out of me. But anyway, there's that. See, if I have a little boy, I know what to do. At age 2 starts the weight training. Weight training starts at age 2. At age 3, he's in MMA classes. By the time he's 12, I never have to worry about him ever, because he'll kill any other mortal on the face of the earth. That's easy. And he might, I just feel if I do that to my little girl, she may resent me for it. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. It's terrifying. All right, Joe Clem 15 writes, if Strange gives Thanos the stone a slight moment earlier or later, Ant-Man doesn't get stuck in the quantum realm. Significant or nah? Love your show, bro. Maybe. Yeah. But who knows? Maybe something else terrible would happen. That's actually a very interesting conversation. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, I can't tell you because it gets involved into spoilers. But interesting observation, Clem, but unfortunately we can't spend much time on it because it gives away too much. All right, we're almost out of time here, and we're at final question of the day. Tacky75 writes, Linda Hunt won an Oscar for playing a man. Hold a second. Which, I feel bad that I don't even know what we're talking about. Linda Hunt. Oh, in The Year of Living Dangerously. That's right. That's right, in The Year of Living Dangerously. She won Best Actress in a Supporting Role. That's right. I totally forgot about that. Totally forgot about that. Interesting. Good observation, man. Good observation. And Dirk Vanderbar just sends a super chat. Thank you so much, Dirk. All right, guys. That will do it for me. I said we're going to cut it short, but I wanted to get through all the questions you guys were sending in. Thanks so much for being here today. Kill the AC at this moment. Thanks so much for being here today. Now, don't forget, we still have the John Campea Show tomorrow morning. Here, I'm going to be in studio tomorrow morning, John Campea Show. Then as soon as we're done the John Campea Show tomorrow morning, that's when Ann and I hit the road and head out to San Diego. And then all the videos that are going to be coming after that for the rest of the week will be coming to you from San Diego. So thanks a lot for that. That'll do it for me for now, guys. I think I might try to play a little bit of Warcraft later if I get a chance. Hopefully you guys will tune in with me as we do a little bit of play chat. That'll do it for me for now, guys. Thank you so much for being here. My name's John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.